Hello and welcome back to another live stream of exposing D&D 5e CRs with Andrew. As always, I'm Andrew and I'm here to expose these monsters live for you. And if you're not here live, then hopefully you're catching the VOD later on, the VOD there. And to get right into things, I figured we could take a look right at the Correspond Seer. Someone had suggested the Correspond and didn't really care which one, so I figured I'd stretch it out over the entire month. And for the third week, we are now looking at the Seer. Next week, we'll look at the Crawlers, which are probably little creatures. We'll see what happens. And with that, I've already taken it upon myself to go ahead and get the Correspond Seer up, as you can see here on the right side. And we'll go ahead and jump right into this. Alright, clearing out my tool from whatever monster I was looking at last time. I don't recall what it was. Let's get right into this. We have the Correspond Sphere, which is a medium aberration with 17 AC. And we have 18 D8 with an 18 Constitution, 19 Wisdom, and 16 Charisma. This monster is supposed to be a CR 13. And that is it for the base stats. Next, we'll jump into the skills section here and see that we actually have 4 saving throws: Dex, Intellect, Wisdom, and Charisma. And we'll come over here to the offensive section and pop that in for an effective +2 AC bonus because of how many saving throws the Correspond Seer has. Next, we'll skip over skills. It only has perception. And then we will also skip damage immunities because it's only immune to psychic. After that, we don't care about the rest of the information, and we will move right down into the trait section of this monster. First off, we have Earth Glide. The Seer can traverse through magically unworked earth and stone. While doing so, the Seer doesn't disturb the material it moves through, so basically it's just kind of like a ghost, except through earth. And because of that, there's really no effect to the Earth Glide, so we don't have to worry about adding that in. On the other hand, though, we do have magic resistance. A very common staple for most creatures in the game, honestly. Once they go above, I don't know, CR5 it would seem. So now we are gaining an additional +2 effective AC bonus on top of the ones from the saving throws, giving us a +4 bonus now. And our Seer's AC has gone from the 17 to an effective 21, which is bumping up our DCR quite a lot. Already we're at a DCR of 9 so far. Now that we've taken a look at the trait section, let's take a look at the actions and see what we have for our monster here. On top of that, we also have a reaction we'll take a look at after the actions. So first off, we have a multi-attack of, let's see here, the Seer uses Fission Staff twice, Psychedelic Orb twice, or each one once. So that's cool, we can use the staff twice, the orb twice, or one of each. Cool. And before I forget to do that, or anything else with the Seer, let me go ahead and put in the 2-hit bonus of +8. So we'll shift that from a 5 to an 8, and gives us a small CR bonus already, as we can see here in the dark red. And our Fission Staff will do, let's see, we've got 9.5 bludgeoning damage plus 18 radiant damage, and the target is knocked prone. Not bad for a Fission Staff. Next, we have Psychedelic Orb. The Seer hurls a glimmering orb at one creature can see within a certain range. Target must succeed on a Wisdom save or take 27.5 damage and suffer a random condition until the start of the Seer's next turn. Alright, so first of all, at one creature. So we're only dealing damage to one target. And oddly enough, it's doing pretty much the same amount of damage as the Fission Staff. Actually, it's doing exactly the same amount of average damage. 27.5 from both attacks. So honestly, when we get to the multi-attack, skipping over the rest of Psychedelic Orb for a moment, it doesn't matter what attack that the Seer does, it's going to do the same regardless. So we can just go ahead and multiply that by 2, giving us a multi-attack of 55 damage. Now to finish up Psychedelic Orb, we also have 3 conditions. Blinded, doesn't matter. Frightened, could take effect. And Stunned, technically should take some kind of effect, but as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't, unfortunately. So there's only a 33% chance of being frightened, and since we can't count on that every turn, we're not going to add that in as a trait for Frightful Presence or the Horrible Vision from the other thing. Alright, and with that out of the way, this is pretty much all our Seer can do for attacks. So the shortcut is just going to be copying the multi-attack and multiplying it by 3 for 3 rounds of combat. That's averaged out into the full attack action here and pushed over to the DPR section of the offensive block. And so far we're seeing a CR 9. I believe this is supposed to be a CR 13, if I remember. Alright. We're really behind, and this is completely overrated so far. Let's take a look at the reaction and see what we have here. Fuse damage. When the Seer is hit by an attack, it takes only half of the triggered damage. The first time the Seer hits with a melee attack on its next turn, the target takes an extra 1d6 radiant damage. Alright, so let's think about this for a minute. When the Seer is hit by an attack, it takes only half of the triggered damage. Alright, so it's always going to be getting hit if it's a one-on-one, or if it's many versus one. So if this Seer is being faced as an epic encounter or regardless, it's going to take half damage from one attack. Then, since it's only the one attack, we can't really count that in as any kind of trait around here or even a resistance. So we're going to skip over that because it's only one out of many attacks. And we'll see here that we can add in an extra 1d6 radiant damage. Alright, so the Seer, in theory, is going to be hit every round by someone, somehow, sometime. So let's go ahead and add this into the multi-attack. And we'll say this is an additional 3.5 points of damage. And we will simply just say you two. Let's see here. We've got those, plus the section from attack number 3, which bumps us up to 58 points of damage. I already knew this wasn't going to be anywhere near the amount of damage we would need for this. So, what's going on? At the moment, we are looking at a DCR, OCR, and regular straight CR 9 across the board. We have 9s all the way across. Doesn't matter what we're doing here. There's got to be something missing. And the only other thing could potentially be the damage immunities here. And if we throw that in, let's just see what happens. We only jump up to a CR 11. I'm not seeing anything here that's suggesting this should be a CR 13. Because there's only the one damage immunity. There's no real way that this could possibly be anything higher. I don't understand what's going on here. The only thing I could think of is maybe these conditions here are doing something from Psychedelic Orb. But there's not enough to say, okay, this is always going to be happening. Especially with the fission staff here and something being knocked prone. Technically, the first attack would be having someone standing on their feet, and then the second attack would be knocked prone, giving advantage. So only half the attacks are getting advantage if you're using the fission staff all the time. As far as I'm concerned, and I may have to look at this a little more in depth later on, this guy, or this creature here, is a CR 9 as far as I'm aware. Let's just review what we have effectively. So we have nothing affecting our hit points, giving us 153 hit points here. But we do have an effective AC of 21. So let's see here. 151 hit points puts us into a DCR 6. We have 21, which is 6 over, resulting in a +3 shift. All right, that works out fine. We're at a 9 now. For the attack, we have nothing modifying our attack beyond, the few things for the reactions. So we have an average of 58 damage here, and an attack bonus of 8. All right, well, with an attack bonus of 8, we are looking at 58 points of damage, giving us an OCR of 9. The attack bonus is 7. That's only 1 over. It's no shift to the OCR. The only other possibility here is that you're using the Psychedelic Orb all the time, and I see that the target must succeed on a DC 19 Wisdom save. So let's just modify this a little bit and use the 19 instead. All right. If you're using the psychedelic orb all the time, then we're looking at a CR of 10, and our OCR actually does go up a little higher. So if the seer is going to sling the orbs and hurl these things at targets, we're going to see a little bit more damage. But beyond that, we're still shy of the CR 13 that's printed in this book over here. So as far as I'm concerned, the star spawn is either a 9 or a 10, depending. And because I would use whatever is the worst for the players, I would consider using psychedelic orbs as much as possible until the seer is in melee range, and then switch to the fission staff. And that's purely because it's harder to resist the psychedelic orb at a DC 19. That's pretty intense for a CR 13 monster. All right. Well, like I said, as far as I can say, this isn't a 13. At max, it's a 10. So I'm going to come over here and take a note of this. Correspond seer A. And what do we have here? DCR 9, 10, 10. And it's overrated. I'm just going to leave that blank because I don't know how they found that. All right, and with that out of the way, let's move into something else. Well, we've already looked at the Aeorian Nullifier a couple weeks ago. We could even do the Displacer Beast or the Bone Spawn. The Bone Swarm, which could be interesting because it's coming from the Tome of Beasts 1. We also have the Bugbear and an Ancient Red Dragon. Well, I know the Ancient Red Dragon is going to be crazy underrated. Let's take a step back here. I actually want to take a look at the Bone Swarm because I've already looked at the Displacer Beast from a recent shorts or long-term video. Hi, Cornucopia. No requests for me today, just lurking. Well, lurk away. I've got plenty of monsters here to deconstruct and expose, so if something comes up, let me know. And the Speed King as well. King of Feathers. Is that the one from Creature Codex? Because I may have looked at that one already. Oh, Coco Loco. Hey, managed to catch the live stream this time. Yes, you've caught me real early on. I've only just finished up the Correspond Seer, which was overrated. And Zombie T-Rex. Zombie T-Rex, okay. Let me see here. King of Feathers. Do you happen to know which book that's from, Speed King? I'm going to go with Creature Codex for now. But if it's from Tome of Beasts, I have that one available as well. Let's see here. Find King of Feathers. Let's see here. Let me zoom in. King of Manticores. King of... Well, let's see here. Alright, King of Vultures. I know I had done a bunch of kings, but I don't remember which book. Oh, Tome of Annihilation, I think. Oh, the Zombie T-Rex, yes. And the Oblex. Well, let me see if I can find the King of Feathers first, because I'm having a difficult time with that at the moment. If I can't find that, I will then go to the Zombie T-Rex and then the Oblex. So we'll do that in that order right at the moment. King of Feathers... Zombie, T-Rex, and then the Oblex. Feathers might work out better, maybe? Who do we have here? Lord of the Vultures. Let's see here. What if I do of Feathers? Alright. Must not be in this book. Let me try the... Tome of Beasts. Alright, Tome of Feathers. No, I'm not getting anything for the Tome of Feathers. I'll keep a note of that, and I will I'll look for that later on and see if I can find that for shorts there, Speed King. All right, let's get the Tome of Annihilation up and get the zombie T-Rex up, and then look for the Oblex after that. Is it just straight up T-Rex? Probably not. Zombie? Oh, that's giving way too many results. Let's see here. Tyran. Come on. Where is my... There we go. Come down to the bottom here and hopefully hit up... Tyrannosaurus zombie. Let's see here. Durillian zombie. Ankylosaurus zombie. There we go. Perfect. Tyrannosaurus zombie. Excellent. Found it. Okay. So, looking at the T-Rex zombie. Hopefully it's not overrated like the regular T-Rex is. That was very disappointing. And we're looking at a CR8 T-Rex. Alright. Let's get into this and reset the tool. Alright. We have a huge undead. And it has an AC of 11 with 19 Constitution, 3 Wisdom. Oops. Did I see? No. I did something wrong here. 13 hit dice, there we go. 19 Constitution and 3 Wisdom, 5 Charisma. Should be a CR8. Alright. And skipping past these, let's see here. Skipping down with that, we now go into the skills section, and we only have damage immunities for poison, so I'm not going to count that in right now. Already, with just the one, I don't count that in unless we see 3. So we're going to go down into the trait section. And disgorge zombies. So as a bonus action, the T-Rex can disgorge a normal zombie, which appears in an unoccupied space. The zombie acts on its own initiative count. After a zombie is disgorged, roll a d6 on a 1. The T-Rex runs out of zombies. Okay. If the T-Rex still has this trait when it dies, 1d4 zombies erupt. Alright, so because of the fact that the zombies act on its own initiative, I'm going to suggest that the zombies don't add to the T-Rex, and we will just move past that for the time being. But we do have Undead Fortitude, which will give it a little bit of hit points, which is kind of funny. I love the Undead Fortitude trait. It's just a wacky thing. It only gives a bonus of plus 14 effective hit points, which is kind of silly. But it's possible that it could not die. You know, it needs a lot of heavy damage, and I've had zombies where I've run in the past just keep getting back up because of this Undead Fortitude, which is hilarious. Annoys the crap out of my my players sometimes. And that's it for the traits. The only important one is the Undead Fortitude. So let's come on down into the actions and see what we have here. Alright, so I don't forget about it. Let me add in the 2-hit bonus of 10. And then the T-Rex can make 2 attacks, one with its bite and one with its tail. Of course, both can't be against the same target because of how anatomy works. And we have the bite. So the bite will be 33 points of damage. If the target is a medium or smaller creature, it is grappled. Until the grapple ends, the target is restrained, and the T-Rex can't bite another target. But it can rebite the same target. So we'll also add in the Constrict trait, bumping up the 11 to 12 for its AC bonus. And also its tail. Alright, and the tail can deal, let's see, 20.5 points of damage. Because it has 3d8, and that's an odd number of dice, we have to remember to add in the half point of damage. And then our multi-attack is simply attacks 1 and 2 together. Oops. Like that. So we're looking at 53 points of damage pretty much every round of combat. So let's go ahead and add in the multi-attack here and multiply that by 3 rounds of combat. And this pushes us up into an full attack, or at least the attacks for the 3 rounds of combat of 53 points of damage. And this is what we've got. Sadly, it's not a CR8. It's basically just a reskin of the T-Rex. The living version, except it just has Undead Fortitude. So, sadly, we've got a CR7 T-Rex zombie. It's a little overrated. What would be the best way to fix it? Probably give it a couple extra hit dice. Let's see what happens if we give it 15 hit dice. Let's watch the blue section in here. Alright, there you go. You want it to live a little longer? Give it 2 more hit dice. And that gives it an average of 157 hit points rather than the 136. So, there you go. It is a little more tanky. Otherwise, you might be able to give it some extra damage, but that gets a little wonky because at the moment we got 53. We would need, what was that? At least 4 more points of damage from the multi-attack. Maybe we could put in some kind of like undead necrotic damage on the bites because it's a zombie or something. Who knows? But there you go. Unfortunately, the zombie T-Rex is overrated by CR7, but only 1 step overrated. So let me go here and update that real quick in my notes. Yeah, same thing here happened with the regular T-Rex. All right. We're looking at A, and then it was, what did I have here? We go back to 13. 597, just like the other one, unfortunately. 597, overrated. +2, add 2, H dot to fix. Alright, that's that. Let me figure out about the Oblex, what book that's coming from. Alright, Coco Loco, do you want an adult, the elder, or a spawn? Which one do you want? That one's coming from Mordenkainen's, so I'll get the book up while I wait for your response. Why was I switching off? I don't understand that. Mordenkainen's, where are you hiding? There we go. We're looking for Oblex. Ooh, these guys are fun looking. Oh, I've seen these images before. I don't remember why I remember seeing this picture. Maybe it was just because I saw it in the book. Alright, what do we have here? CR10 for the Elder? Let's do the Elder. Who knows? We'll go with the Elder Oblex for now. And if not, we can always look at the other ones later on too. Alright. Let me zoom in on the Elder Oblex, and we will get to this. Ow, ow, ow. Shooting pain in my foot. I don't know where that came from. Alright, Coco Loco, the Elder Oblex. After I reset, we have a huge ooze. And that huge ooze has 16 AC, 10 D12 hit dice, Constitution score of 21, Wisdom 13, Charisma 18, and should be a CR 10. Alright, and then we have, let's see here, 2 saving throws, which isn't going to modify our monster at all. A bunch of skills we don't care about, and nothing else in the skills area. So we can skip down into the traits, which it has a bunch of. Alright, so first off we have Amorphous. The blob, or the ooze, can move through 1-inch wide narrow spaces. Cool. Doesn't really matter for us in terms of the CR. Next we have Aversion to Fire. If the Oblex takes fire damage, it has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the end of its next turn. Alright. Handy, especially if the players find out that the Oblex squeals in pain once it sees or is hit by fire, but doesn't take into consideration anything for the challenge rating. But the next thing we have is innate spellcasting, and that will take effect if we have anything of any kind of damaging powers here. So at will, we can charm person as a 5th level spell, detect thoughts, and hold person. Alright, so here's the thing. These are important, especially charm person and hold person, but because it takes the attack to do so, we're not going to count those in, which is unfortunate, but it's just how it seems to work. If it did damage and also charmed or somehow held the person, then it would work. We also have Confusion, Dimension Door, Dominate Person, Fear, Hallucinatory Terrain, Hold Monster, Hypnotic Pattern, and Telekinesis. Well, as it stands, we don't really have any direct damage spells of any type. There's no damaging spells here, so there's nothing for our Oblex to do to really do damage here. So let's move on to Sulphurous Impersonation. As a bonus action, the Oblex can extrude a piece of itself that assumes the appearance of one medium or smaller creature whose memories it has stolen. Alright, moving on, the Oblex can impersonate 2d6 plus 1 different creatures. Alright. For all practical purposes, the simulacrum is the Oblex, meaning the Oblex occupies its space and the simulacrum space simultaneously. Alright, so we have a whole lot of stuff here that doesn't really matter. Let's see here. Telekinesis. Let me see, taking a step back about telekinesis. First off, let me find what level spell that is. Let's see here. Telekinesis is a 5th level spell. Alright, let me see if it's in my chart here. And technically, no. Let's see here. I have it up on the side. You can move or manipulate creatures or objects by thought. And yada yada yada. Creatures. Until the end of your next turn, the creature is restrained. Whoa. Whoa. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, I'm looking at telekinesis on the side on my other computer, and there's really nothing here that's showing, yeah, as you see, Coco Loco, that the best it can do is restrain, and even then it's not doing any kind of damage, like a bite would. So, sadly, there's nothing really there for the Oblex that way. And let me get back up top to my screen here. Okay. Alright, so let's move on to the actions that the Oblex has. Hopefully something here will be doing a whole bunch of damage. Alright, so it's multi-attack. Alright, let's see. Pseudopod has +7 to hit. And when it does hit, it will deal 17 bludgeoning damage and 7 psychic damage. Alright, so we're looking at, what, 24 points of damage? Alright. And it can do 2 of those attacks and uses Eat Memories. So let's see what Eat Memories does. Oblex targets one creature can see within range. That target needs to succeed on DC 18 or take 44 points of damage and become memory drained until it finishes a short or long rest or until it benefits from the greater restoration. Yada yada yada. While memory drained, the target must roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled from any ability checks or attack rolls it makes. Alright, that's neat. And then continuing on. When the Oblex causes a target to become memory drained, the Oblex learns all the languages. Okay, so we've got a huge amount of damage here, which means this is where our score is coming from. Oh, it's okay, Coco. Don't worry about it, man. Or person. Whoever you are. Don't worry about it. It's cool. I make plenty of mistakes. Just watch some of my older videos. Even the live streams I've messed up on because I was going through the stuff too quick. All right, so Eat Memory will do 44 points of damage here. And we can do 2 pseudopods and an Eat Memory. So we've got a lot of damage coming in here. This is nasty. We've got 92 points of average damage. So just to continue on with the trend here, we'll push that over. And we're close. This is supposed to be a CR10, and at the moment I'm seeing a CR9. Not bad. Not bad at all, actually. Now, because we've got 3 attacks going on here, and the Elder Oblex, the majority of the damage is coming from, well, not really. I mean, if we look at it, let's take a step back. We've got 2 pseudopod attacks at a total of 48 damage here. And, why did it do that? So our pseudopod is going to do 48 average damage, but the Eat Memories is only doing 44 points in damage. But because it's such a heavy hitting effect, let's see what happens if I change the DC to 18 and go with that instead. Alright, come on over here and use saves instead of the attack bonus. Yeah. We're still not doing that well. We're still at a CR9, and this is supposed to be a CR10. Curious. Alright, it does have... No, it doesn't have any damage immunities or resistances. There's probably something in the spells that might be helping out here. Maybe Dimension Door, possibly. But just from straight damage, the Elder Oblex could be overrated. Let's see here. Cornucopia says the Elder Oblex may be overrated, but its art definitely isn't. Top contender for sickest art in the game. Yeah, this is one of my more favorite artwork here. One of my... This one's really nice looking. As I stumble over my words. So we'll just say that the Elder Oblex is overrated by 1 step. I mean, it's probably not that huge of a deal, honestly, but I'm only seeing CR9. Especially if this is used with other creatures and it can just spam out some of its spells first from any of its innate spellcasting. I'm sure it's a CR10, to be honest, but there's really no way to quantify these status affecting spells because, as I've stated before, in the custom monster section, it says condition immunities make no effect. They cause no effect on this CR rating. So therefore, if any attack or spell causes an effect as well, then there's no bonuses or negatives to it, which is a little weird, but they probably wanted to keep this as streamlined as possible. Alright, let me go over to the... let me take a note here of that. And what was I at here? 4, 14, and 9. That's a big range. It may not live very long with the DCR4, especially, you know, looking at that. That's pretty harsh. That's a pretty big range too, like the that Galvanic Blast Seeker that I keep mentioning for huge CR ranges. Oof. So 4, 14, and 9. Okay. 4, 14, 9, overrated, and not sure where the overrating is coming from. To be honest, probably the easiest way to kind of fix it a little bit would be, again, just to give it some a few extra hit dice, but that's about it. Alright, let me see here. Gator Ninja. I have no idea how to use the Oblex properly. The text doesn't say whether the simulacrum actually works like the spell, and therefore I don't know if the personalities have actual skills and abilities. Well, let's take a look at this real quick. The slimy tether is immune to damage, but it's separate. There's no... The simulacrum appears, feels, and sounds exactly like the creature it impersonates, though it smells faintly of sulfur. Alright, so that's kind of important for how to use it. Yes, Coco Loco. They're literally in the book for the monster manual, or not the monster manual, the DMG, in the custom monster section. It literally says condition immunities don't cause any effects on the monster CR. I mean, if we look, our Oblex here is immune to blinded, charmed, deafened, exhaust, and prone. Plenty of spells do the exact same thing. And because of that, it seems as though the challenge rating is purely based on how much damage and how deadly the monster is, not on how much of a controller it is. So if you, for instance, have a wizard in your group and they are purely control based and trying to do statuses and whatnot, technically their CR rating would be extremely lower compared to, you know, a element like a wizard in this the what is it, the destruction school there, that can sculpt spells and whatnot and is just all bursty gish blast damage. They would technically be a higher CR than a controller wizard. It's really weird. Back to the impersonation of the simulacrum. I don't think it would allow Gator Ninja. I don't think it would take up any kind of skills or abilities. It's feeding off the memories. So therefore, it's more of a mind game, really, than anything else. With this memory drain and whatnot. So they look, sound, and appear like it, but that's it. They don't have the skills. If anything, the simulacrum is still tethered to the Oblex, and therefore would work entirely off of the skills and traits of the Oblex itself. That's what I would think anyways, Gator. Cornucopia. Pretty sure simulacrum isn't referring to the spell and just means looks a lot alike or imposter in the context. Yeah, that's what I'm getting from it. I would just say it's some kind of impersonation if the Oblex survives any kind of encounter. Coco Loco, if it helps, if it did work as the spell, it would say so. 5e is fairly specific when it comes to these things. Figured as much, but it would have made it much cooler. Yeah, a much cooler monster. For sure. I mean, as an ooze, it would be fun to have just like a series of ooze line quests or whatever, where your players are all dealing with blobs and whatnot, gelatinous cubes and the such. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the Elder Oblex is found at its CR9 rating. Any other recommendations or requests before we move on to something else? Gator Ninja, do you have a monster you'd like to see exposed? Well, since the adult Oblex seems to be a copy, pretty much, of the that one, I'm not going to bother with the adult and look at something a little different here. Okay. What do you have? What do you have, Gator? Let me do a little. Come on. Why does it keep doing that? Weird. While Gator Ninja is... Oh! I actually did do the Drow Favored Consort. It is one of my shorts. It was one of the shorts I did a while back where I actually did colored backgrounds and whatnot. I do have that one finished up, and I believe it's actually even rated, or maybe it's higher. It's either even rated or underrated. Let me see something here. Let's go to my studio. What are we looking at? Drow. Yep, right here. This is what you're looking for. Red background with the image cut out. and it's a spellcaster, since I've already done it, I'm going to have to skip over redoing that one, because, man, it takes a while to do spellcasters if, you know, if I haven't already done it. Oh, looks like the Udak is doing pretty good as a shorts. Or just released. Okay. Any other ones, Gator? If not, we will take a look at the Bone Swarm from the Tome of Beasts otherwise. Let's see here, where am I at? The Beholder? I actually have the Beholder as well. That one was a lot of weird math, to be honest. Let's see here. Studio. Here's what you're looking at up here for the Beholder. I think the Beholder, if I remember correctly, was more or less even rated. Githzerai and Arch. Okay, I will definitely look at that one in a moment. I had to do a lot of weird math because of the eye rays and the other types of rays that it has. And actually, I did it twice. I have the Beholder, and then I have the skull one, the floating skull, which I can't remember what that one's called. But yes, the Beholder is on there. Which, if you look at the description too, it links to a damage tracker, and you can see all the crazy math that I did to try and figure out the approximate amount of average damage per round based off like the 3 out of 10 or 3 out of 8 eye rays that it can do. It was nutty. Okay, let's see here. I saw the short, but was interested in seeing all the weird math. Okay, let me pull that up real quick. I'll show you the damage chart for it. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Let's see here. I wanted that. That's what I wanted. All right. I'll be right back. Let's see here. Let's see here. What was it? Beholder. Yep, it's in the description notes there, Coco Loco. So here's what you would see going to the link here in Google Docs. So the bite only does about 14 damage per round. Legendary actions, because you can basically pick whatever ray you want, you can get up to 165 damage per round because of the legendary actions. Now, I kind of went through each one and said, all right, well, you know, Ray 2 might give an AC bonus, and Rays 6, 7, 8 might also do AC bonuses, but I didn't actually add those in because you can't rely on those. But Rays 5, 9, and 10 did do damage, and those were the only damaging rays. So for Ray 1, there was roughly 3 out of 10 chances to get a damaging ray, which I believe, if I worked it out, the total was 136, and then averaged out between 3 of 10 rounds, should result in about 40 damage per round on the first round of combat, or the first of 3 eye rays, excuse me. Then, on the second ray, you now only get 2 out of 9 chances, so it's like permutations or something. And I had to do combinations of, well, if it's rays 5 and 9, or 8 and 9, or 5 and 10, and then averaged all that out to get somewhere around about 20 damage per round on the second ray. And then the same deal for the third ray. There was only 1 out of 7 chances, resulting in roughly these numbers here, which is just a copy of these numbers here, and worked out to be roughly about 19 points of damage. And then, let's see here, the average possible damage per turn, I believe, was 26 out of all 3 of these combined. So you're looking at only about 26 points of damage per round from just the multi-attack of eye rays. And that's if you happen to land at least one point of, or one ray that does damage. But like I said before, the legendary actions just let you pick a ray. There's nothing in there that says, oh, you have to roll randomly. Pretty sure you can just pick a ray and go with that. So, and it seemed to line up, or it seemed to line up too. So between the two, you're looking at, what's that, 172 points of damage? Now, I did originally have these charts here filled out as well to give me some kind of an average total round of damage, but, you know, you're looking at 172 points of damage on average for the first 3 rounds of combat. Or no, just for 1 round of combat, but yeah, if you, over 3 rounds, yeah. So, that was the crazy math for the Beholder. There you go, Coco Loco. That one hurt my brain a little bit, but it was fun figuring it out. Alright, the Githzerai Anarch. Let me see if I can get that one. And that one is in Mordenkainen's. Okay. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I have no idea. Oh, perfect. 207. Alright, so 208. And this should be a CR16. Might go a little over on this time-wise, but that's alright. Page 207. Just want to keep a note of that. Oh, you're welcome, Coco. I had to figure it out and see what, you know, D&D did to get the Beholder's damage up so high, and I think I got it. At least pretty close anyways. Alright, Githzerai Anarch, the last one for the live stream. We are looking at a medium humanoid, a Gith, obviously, with 20 AC, which is coming from the Psychic Defense. So technically, actually, we could use the Psychic Defense thing from its Charisma bonus. So let me backtrack that a little bit. Technically, its AC would be... Let's put that at 18 for now. And we have 17 D8 with 18 Constitution, 20 Wisdom. Oh, I'm thinking of the other one. Excuse me. Okay. And 14 Charisma there. Should be a CR 16. So no, actually that would be normally 15 AC because of 10 base plus the Dex bonus, and then we're looking at the +5 Wisdom bonus. So we'll come over here and add in the Psychic Defense, which will be right here, giving our Githzerai the +5 AC bonus. And then that will bump it up from the 15 to the 20 like we're expecting. Alright, now into the skills area. I'm losing my train of thought. We have 4 skills: Strength, Dex, Intellect, and Wisdom. So we'll come over here and add that into the saving throw section, giving us a +2 AC bonus, moving it from the 20 to 22, now for any effective AC. And we have a few skills and senses, so nothing else really matters up here. We were just worried about saving throws and any immunities or resistances. Since there's nothing left here, we'll come down into the trait section and take a look at its innate spellcasting. We've already looked at the Psychic Defense, and let's see what we have here. We have Mage Hand, which for the purposes of dealing with the CR doesn't matter. Featherfall, Jump, See and Viz, Shield. Shield is important. That's extremely important. So it's so important actually that I added it as a trait down here, and we'll tap that in as well. So let's see here, we have 3 per day. Well, most combats shouldn't last longer than 3 or 4 rounds, so this is extremely important. If anything, the Githzerai should be saving all of those, saving all of these skills. Actually, no, it can do all of these 3 per day. What am I thinking? So yeah, it has 3 uses of shield, which is going to jump our effective AC up to 27 now. Ooh, this is terrible. Alright, then we have Globe of Invulnerability, Plane Shift, Teleportation, and Wall of Force. Wall of Force is going to be the important one, I'm sure. Globe of Invulnerability, I don't believe will do anything. And Cornucopia says, hey, we got shield, let's get that AC boost. Yes, definitely getting that AC boost for sure. I mean, just look at this. This is absurd. 27. Alright, I am looking for just Globe of Invulnerability. Let's see here. Alright, Globe of Invulnerability is a 6th level spell, so let me just double check that. I don't think it does damage. Yeah, no, it's not here. And then Wall of Force. Does Wall of Force do any kind of damage? Let's see. That is 5th level spell. No, I don't believe so. Wall of Light would, but not Wall of Force. Okay, so luckily, our Githzerai Anarch here, or Anarch, probably Anarch, doesn't really get anything besides that AC boost from shield. We've got plenty of other things here, like the Globe of Invulnerability, which is going to be great, but not much more than that. The Wall of Force would be great to help, you know, escape or keep people locked in, but beyond that, there's not really much else going on. So we'll move down into the multi-attack section here. Oh, and it's a legendary creature too. Fun. And let's up its unarmed strikes for the +10 to hit. So the bonus, the attack bonus will be a +10, and then we will look at the multi-attacks. Alright, so its unarmed strike is only going to be, let's see here, 14 damage plus 18 psychic damage. Fun. And then it can do 3 of these for its multi-attack. Okay. So multi-attack times 3. And then let's take a look at the legendary actions, which it can do. So, first off, we have Strike. The Anarch makes one-armed strike. Cool. And if we just use that 3 times, it's the same as the multi-attack. So we'll go and do that. So we're looking at a lot of damage already if we're just doing straight strikes all the time. Teleportation. The Anarch, or the Anarch can magically teleport, which could be handy, but it's kind of iffy about whether or not the teleport does add any kind of an AC bonus. In the past, I was saying possibly, you know, +2 AC, similar to invisibility, but not entirely sure. And then we have gravity, change gravity for 3 points. The Anarch casts the reverse gravity spell. The spell has the normal effects, except that the Anarch can orient the area in any direction, and creatures and objects fall towards that end of the area. Good combo with, I think, Wall of Force, or whatever spell that is. But for purposes here, it's only going to be fall damage, and unless you can guarantee, you know, 20d6 points worth of fall damage, it looks like everything is going to be based off of the multi-attack and the legendary actions here. So let's throw that in and see what we get here. So we're just simply going to say this times 2 times 3 for a total of 192 points of damage. Pretty sure I got that right. Yeah, because we were doing the legendary actions and the multi-attack, which is all the same thing. So technically the Anarch is doing 6 unarmed strikes per round. And we're going to look at the 3 rounds of combat. So yeah, 192 points of damage. And when it gets thrown into the chart here, we're looking at roughly a CR17 Githzerai. It's a CR16. It's only underrated by 1 step. 1 step. And really isn't that terrible. That's pretty close as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, maybe there's something a little off here. Maybe, I mean, I don't know what I would have done or what I did differently, except maybe the shield. If we take shield off, let's see how that modifies the monster a bit. Yeah, okay, so that's the difference. Shield was the difference here. So, if the Anarch isn't using shield, which I always recommend using shield, it's exactly a CR16, like it's printed. But if you do need to use shield, we're looking at CR 17. So when the shields run out, this is exactly as printed, but otherwise, technically for the first 3 rounds of combat, we're looking at a slightly underrated Githzerai. That one was fun. And not nearly as terrible as I thought it was going to be. Let's see here, go back to 16. Yeah. Any more questions as we wrap up this live stream? Anything from me? 8:23:16. Fix that with the shield. 11:23:17. You're welcome, Gator. Glad I could help you out with that. That was a fun one. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it actually was. Let's see here. Cornucopia said, underrated by only a single point isn't bad at all. In terms of legendary monsters, those barely ever end up anywhere near the printed CRs. That's for sure. Especially when I take a look at the Elder, or the Ancient Red Dragon later on. That one is going to be terrible. I already know, because every time I work with dragons, it's the breath weapon that gets them in trouble. And someone requested it, so I'm going to be doing it later on. Alright, let's see here. Anything else from anyone? Any more questions? As you can see here, this is my release schedule, so for those of you that are curious as to what's coming out this week, we already saw Udak, and we've got the Hobgoblin, Shogoth, Gishath short, and let's see here, Korspawn Emissary, and Yansi Bin. Those ones should be fun too. See how that comes out. Oh, while you're all here, and I have a few more minutes left, the Tanaruk. I don't know what happened with that. I woke up this morning from the Tanaruk, and let me pull that up really quick, because that one was absurd. I mean, already, somehow, the performance here is doing great for this guy, but the Tanaruk, it was insane. I've never had this good of a reaction. 6,000 views and over 250 likes. I got 11 thumbs down and 250 thumbs up on the Tanaruk. This is my best video by far. The shorts video, and the crazy part is I've already done the videos on the Tanaruk too. So if we look in the past, this was the original video where I completely messed up on it. Like the reactions were completely thrown off. And then this is the live stream from last week and the shorts version. I really don't know how this happened. I don't know how I ended up getting 6,000 views. Oh, Tolkien love, huh? I have no idea that was part of it. Okay, that would make sense then. Oh, thank you, Gator. That really helps out. I wonder if there's any more Tolkien-based monsters in D&D. Yeah, Coca Loco for sure. The algorithm gods. Thank you, Cornucopia. I am excited. We are actually so close to 1,000 subscribers that I can't wait to finally get the community tab open and start asking a whole bunch of questions and polls and whatnot. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, if any of you know any more Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, and the Hobbit-based monsters that are in D&D somehow, I'll totally cover them, especially if I get this kind of reaction, because not only did I get such great likes, I ended up with over 65 subscribes too, which was insane. If we go to my, let me go to my analytics real quick and show you the real-time count. This has been the biggest jump I've had in a matter of like hours. I went from 819, went to bed, actually, yeah, I went to bed somewhere around 819.20, and woke up to 889 subscribers. That was bonkers. Oh. Well, if there's no more questions, let's see here. We will end the live stream here. Thank you all for joining me. It was great having the lot of you here for the majority of the live stream. A lot of fun checking out some of these other monsters I hadn't seen before. I remember the Oblex. That was a good one. And the Githzerai was surprising to see that it was pretty much right on. Thank you, Gator Ninja. It was great having you here. I try to stick to pretty much every Monday until I can figure out a better time to stream when most people are going to be on. Because right now, at least where I am, it's dinner time. Alright everyone, well with that I will say thank you for joining me as we exposed a bunch of D&D 5e monsters CRs live today on this Monday night. Until next time, have a great week and have fun with D&D.